didn't show up to my high school reunion because I was a failure. Now I'm not. Hey Reddit. This is going to be long, emotional, and probably a little messy. But I've been carrying this inside for years, and I need to let it out. You ever feel like life just passed you by? Like you blinked, and suddenly everyone you knew moved forward, and you were still stuck in neutral. That's how I felt the day I got the invitation to my 10-year high school reunion. Let me back up. In high school, I wasn't anyone special. I wasn't a nerd or a jock or a burnout. I didn't stand out. I was just background noise, the guy whose name people forgot. I floated between groups but belonged to none. Never went to prom, never joined a club. I didn't even walk at graduation. I was sick that day, or maybe I just didn't have the courage to show up and pretend I was proud of who I was. After high school, everyone scattered. College, military, travel, jobs. And me, I stayed in town. I worked retail, then fast food, then warehouse shifts. I lived with my mom until I was 25. She never judged me. She always said I'd find my way eventually. But I could tell it broke her heart a little every time she saw me come home sweaty, tired, defeated. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't dumb. I was just stuck. Life didn't give me much, and I didn't know how to take more. Every time I tried something new, a course, a job, even a date, I'd mess it up or lose interest or get overwhelmed. I'd watch others post about their promotions, their weddings, their trips abroad, and I'd sit in my dim room, wondering how they did it. Were they just better than me? Smarter? Stronger? One day, an email popped up in my inbox. Subject line, class of XX 10-year reunion. I stared at it for a full 5 minutes. My stomach sunk. I hadn't thought about high school in years. And now, out of nowhere, they wanted us all to reconnect and celebrate our journeys. Celebrate what? I had no career, no family, no stories, no glow-up. Just a string of jobs I hated and a rented room that smelled like mildew. I didn't even have a car anymore. It broke down and I couldn't afford repairs. I biked to work. At a gas station. Minimum wage. Night shift. At first I laughed. Like actually laughed. The idea of me showing up there, surrounded by former classmates who now had real jobs, real money, real lives. It was a joke. I pictured Josh, the guy who everyone thought would be president someday, or Emily, who was valedictorian and probably running her own company now. I hadn't kept up with them, but social media showed enough. I didn't respond to the email. But every night for a week, I thought about it. I'd lie in bed and replay memories, walking the halls, eating lunch alone, hearing whispers I pretended not to hear. He's so awkward. What's his deal? He's going to be one of those guys who never leaves town. God, they were right. I was angry at myself for not trying harder, for not pushing through, for letting fear and doubt chain me to the same 4 blocks of concrete and broken dreams. Then one night, something happened that really punched me in the gut. A girl from our class, let's call her Megan, posted a photo on Facebook, a group picture from graduation. All smiles and caps in the air. The caption? Can't wait to see everyone again. Wonder if some of the ghosts from our class will show up, or if they're still working the gas station night shifter. I wasn't tagged, but someone sent it to me anyway. I stared at it for an hour. She didn't mention me by name, but she might as well have. I was the ghost, the loser, the guy who never left. I felt something break inside. Shame, rage, hurt, but also clarity. I wasn't going to that reunion. Not because I was afraid of them, but because I couldn't bear to confirm their jokes. I couldn't stand in that room and pretend to be okay with being the punchline. I deserved more than that, even if I didn't have it yet. That night, something shifted. I opened YouTube, typed in How to Get Rich When You're Poor. It started as a joke. I expected scams, fake gurus, cringe videos. And yeah, I saw plenty of them. But I also found something else. A rabbit hole. Crypto, to be specific. Not the flashy memes or TikTok hype, but real, dense, complex breakdowns. Technical analysis, blockchain mechanics, use cases, white papers. I didn't understand a damn thing at first, but I was hooked. For the first time in years, I felt awake, curious, hungry. I started watching every day, taking notes, reading blogs, joining forums, subreddits, Discord servers. I didn't have money to invest yet, but I had time, and I had nothing to lose. I downloaded free PDFs, took courses on Coursera, saved up a couple $100 over a few months by cutting out every unnecessary expense. No takeout, no games, no Netflix. I even sold some old stuff I didn't use, all for a shot at something more. It wasn't about getting rich fast. It was about proving to myself that I wasn't worthless, that I could learn something hard, that I could build something, even if it started small. I still worked nights at the gas station, still rode my bike, but every break, every free moment, I studied. I tracked coins, I watched trends, I followed developers, I messaged strangers for advice. I didn't tell anyone. Not because I was embarrassed, but because I didn't want anyone to laugh at the dream before it had time to grow. The reunion came and went. I saw pictures on Instagram, fancy dresses, suits, a rented hall, old classmates holding drinks and smiling under a balloon arch. Megan was there, of course. So was Josh and Emily. Someone posted a video of a toast, and I watched it in silence. They looked happy, but for the first time, I didn't feel small, because I wasn't frozen anymore. I had direction. I had purpose. I wasn't delivering snacks and counting hours. I was building something. Quietly, relentlessly. I didn't know where it would go. I didn't know if it would work. But I knew one thing. I wasn't a ghost anymore. Part 2. The Ghost Learns to Fight. So, after that reunion that I didn't go to, things got weird. In a good way. Kind of. I wish I could tell you that I woke up the next morning and suddenly became a crypto genius, or that some coin I randomly picked turned me into a millionaire overnight. Nah, that didn't happen. What did happen was, I changed. Slowly, quietly, but deeply. I started thinking differently, seeing patterns where I never saw them before, talking less and listening more. I was still broke, still working night shifts, still riding that old rusty bike, but something in me had shifted, and it scared me how hungry I suddenly was. I didn't just want to be not poor, I wanted to win. And that feeling, that drive, it made me do things I never thought I'd do. I started cold DMing people on Reddit and Discord who seemed to know what they were doing. I didn't beg for signals or free coins like most newbies. I asked for reading lists, tools, resources. Some ignored me, but a few kind strangers gave me gold. One guy, I'll never forget him, username was something like NodeWizard87, linked me to a spreadsheet with 200 hours of free lectures on blockchain development and smart contracts. He said, "Don't trade until you understand what you're trading." That line stuck with me. I made a promise to myself. No money in until I could explain Ethereum to a child. So I studied. For months. I kept a journal. I tracked how long I spent learning every day. I watched my own progress like it was a game. 50 hours, 100 hours, 200 hours. Still broke, still invisible, but growing. Around month 5, something happened that shook me. My manager at the gas station, Carlos, good dude, pulled me aside and said corporate was shutting us down. Store wasn't profitable. We had 2 weeks. Just like that, my only income stream was gone. I panicked,
Thought about begging for my old warehouse job back, but instead I took that panic and funneled it into obsession. I doubled down, learned about yield farming, liquidity pools, bridges, hacks, tokenomics. Started following devs on X, Twitter, even if I didn't understand half their jargon. One night, while scrolling through a forum, I saw a post titled, "Bounty Program, Earn Crypto by Finding Bugs in DeFi Projects." Bugs? Like coding bugs? I didn't know how to code. Not really. I barely passed algebra in high school. But I clicked the link anyway. The project was small, a new decentralized exchange launching on a Layer 2 chain I'd barely heard of. They were offering small bounties in their native token for anyone who could spot broken logic in their smart contracts. It was way over my head. But I copied the contract address and opened it in Etherscan. Then I Googled every line like my life depended on it. And I started to see things. Repeated functions, weird math, missing modifiers. It took me 2 days to submit my first bug report. 3 days later, they sent me $75 in crypto. It might as well have been $1 million. That was the moment I realized I didn't need to wait to be successful. I was already building it, one block at a time. I started doing more bounties, small stuff, typos, UI glitches, smart contract vulnerabilities even I barely understood. But I was learning and earning. Meanwhile, my old classmates kept posting about their lives. New jobs, babies, honeymoons in Italy. Megan shared a pic with her new Tesla. I felt the sting, sure, but now it was a different kind of sting. It wasn't envy, it was motivation. At the 6-month mark, I finally put in real money. $500. That was rent money, I knew it, but I'd done the research. I split it into 3 coins, 1 blue chip, 1 mid-cap, 1 tiny experimental token. I watched them every day like they were my children. The first week, I lost $30. My heart dropped. I almost pulled out, but I didn't. I adjusted, learned more, hedged better, used stop losses. And then it happened. The tiny experimental token from a project building decentralized storage on mobile devices got a partnership with a major telecom company. Overnight, it 6x'd. My $200 turned into $1,200. It wasn't life-changing money, but it proved the system worked. I cashed half out, reinvested the rest. Didn't buy anything flashy, just bought time, freedom, another few months of not needing a real job. I stopped telling people I worked at a gas station, started saying I was a freelance bug bounty hunter and crypto researcher. It wasn't a lie anymore. But then came the setback. Remember that $1,200 token? The dev team rug pulled 3 weeks later. Their Twitter vanished, Discord closed, site went dark, the coin crashed 90% in a day. I lost most of it. That night, I cried. I'm not ashamed to say it. Not because I lost money, but because I felt stupid again, like the ghost was creeping back. I almost gave up. But then I remembered Megan's post, the ghost still working gas station shifts, and I said out loud, "You don't get to win. Not like this." I wiped my face, sat back down, and started over. This time I was smarter. I joined smaller dev teams, offered to test our products. I wrote summaries of white papers for beginners and got tipped. I even translated a few documents for a Spanish-speaking DAO and got a one-time token drop worth $400. Bit by bit, I clawed my way back. By the end of year 1, I had $7,300 across different wallets, a new laptop, a used car, and most importantly, I had confidence. Not the fake kind you post online, the kind you earn in silence, brick by brick, while no one's watching. And then came the opportunity. A startup I'd followed since month 4, building a decentralized ID verification protocol, was hiring part-time community managers. They needed someone who knew the tech, could write clearly, and was active on forums. I had all 3. I applied. 2 weeks later, I got an email. We'd love to bring you on for a trial month. Pay? $1,500 a month in USDC. I stared at the screen like it was a glitch. That was more than my gas station job. For the first time, someone wasn't just tolerating my weird crypto obsession, they were paying me for it. And just like that, the ghost got a desk.
Part 3. The Day the Ghost Walked In. Hey Reddit, final update. It's been 2 years since I skipped that high school reunion. 2 years since I sat alone in a dark apartment, eating cup noodles and feeling like a ghost haunting my own life. Since then, I've lived a dozen different lives. And I think it's time I told you how this story ends. After I got hired by that crypto startup as a part-time community manager, my world shifted. Suddenly, I had teammates from 5 continents, daily calls, a work calendar, deadlines. I was terrified, but in the best way. I stopped feeling like a guy pretending to know things. I knew things now. I helped with documentation, moderated forums, wrote weekly updates. People actually thanked me for making tech stuff make sense. I was good at this. 3 months in, they offered to bring me on full-time. Salary? $3,000 a month in stablecoins. Health stipend. Equity. I accepted before they could change their minds. I quit all my side gigs, moved into a decent apartment with a proper desk and an espresso machine I bought like an idiot after my first big paycheck. I even got a cat. Named her Bite. By month 8, I had over $25,000 in crypto and fiat savings. It wasn't Lambos and yachts, but it was the kind of financial peace I'd never known. I stopped worrying if I could afford gas. I started thinking about investing, not just surviving. Then the bull market hit. You know the one. Meme coins flying, discords melting down, a new ETH killer every week. Insanity. I told myself I'd be careful, that I'd stay focused on long-term plays. And I did for a while. But temptation is a hell of a drug. I started aping into tokens early. Got lucky. Real lucky. I flipped $2,000 into $14,000 in 4 days, thanks to a coin I still don't understand. The rush was insane. I got cocky. Thought I cracked the code. So I doubled down. Tried leverage. Lost $5K in 6 minutes. That night, I sat staring at my screen, fingers frozen. Bite jumped into my lap. I think she knew. I whispered, "We don't do that again." And we didn't. Lesson learned. Despite that loss, the rest of the year was green. I started consulting for other projects, wrote white papers, built a following on X and Lens, got invited to speak at a small crypto summit in Lisbon. Me, the guy who once Googled what is Ethereum in a gas station bathroom. I wore a thrifted blazer, choked through my nerves, and talked for 12 minutes about building trust in decentralized communities. People clapped. Afterward, a dev walked up to me and said, "You made me rethink how I write patch notes." That was the moment I knew I belonged here. And then the message came. A Facebook notification. West Hill class of 2015, 10-year reunion, August 17th, RSVP now. My stomach dropped. 10 years. It felt like yesterday and a lifetime ago. I stared at the invite for hours. I clicked the maybe box and closed the tab. The next week, I flew to Bangkok for a DAO strategy retreat, met some of the sharpest minds I've ever encountered. People who lived and breathed code, tokens, governance models. And yet, at night, in my hotel room, I kept thinking about that reunion. I remembered how small I used to feel, how invisible, how Megan laughed when I asked her out in 10th grade, how Ryan once tripped me in front of the whole cafeteria, how Mr. Colton said, "You're wasting your potential," when I bombed my last math exam. I wasn't supposed to win. And yet, here I was. So I booked a flight home. August 17th, 6:47 p.m. I sat in a rental car outside the community center, the same place where we had junior prom. Same peeling paint, same flickering parking light lights. I almost left, but then I thought about Bite waiting at home. I thought about the kid I used to be, scared, broke, ashamed, and I got out of the car. Inside, it was exactly what you'd expect. Balloons, a DJ playing 2010s pop, people in smart casual outfits pretending they hadn't just Googled each other the night before. I walked in, and for the first time in my life, people turned to look. Not in mockery, not in pity, but like I existed. Some didn't recognize me at first. I had a beard now, better posture, no pizza stains on my hoodie. Then the whispers started. Is that the crypto guy? I talked to Rachel, who now runs a bakery chain, to Mike, who teaches science and has 3 kids. Even Ryan came up, slightly drunk, and said, "Hey man, you look, successful or something." I just smiled. Megan was there too, still gorgeous, still magnetic. She looked me up and down and said, "So, you did become someone?" I replied, "No, I just stopped trying to be everyone else." She laughed. "That's deep." We talked. Not for long, but enough to close the chapter. No bitterness, just understanding. Near the end of the night, they passed around a mic. "Anyone want to say a few words?" Silence. Then, I don't know why, I stood up. My heart pounded. I wasn't going to come tonight, because for most of my life, I thought this room only remembered me as a failure. But here's the thing. Success isn't loud. It doesn't always come with degrees or titles or Teslas. Sometimes success is waking up and not hating who you are. It's building something in the dark when no one believes in you, not even yourself. I used to be a ghost, but I'm not anymore. I handed the mic back. People clapped. Some stood. I think Rachel teared up. That night, driving home, I rolled down the windows and let the summer air hit my face. I wasn't rich, not yet, but I was real. And that was enough. Today, I run my own crypto education startup. I hire people like the old me, hungry, overlooked, underestimated. We've helped over 10,000 users learn Web3 basics without feeling dumb. My net worth? Just over $230,000. Still frugal, still humble, but no longer afraid. Sometimes I think about the version of me that almost didn't go, the one that almost stayed in the shadows forever. But ghosts don't haunt this house anymore.